Welcome, Aquarius, to your Aquarius October 2021 reading and forecast. Great to see you, and I hope you're doing well. Welcome back also to the subscribers. Much love and affection to you, as always. It's great to see you, and you are dear to my heart. Now, I don't normally say this because I understand that as an intelligent viewer that you understand how YouTube works. But if you do like what you see, please smash the like button. Maybe consider sharing your reading with your friends over the net. And if you're here for the first time and you like what you see, then subscribe. You'll be so glad that you did. By the way, also I've done a lot of readings, personal readings for Aquarians recently. So if you'd like to have one of those, just check out the information that's in the box below. But now we're going to do your reading for this month of October. And this will take 5 cards because that's all we need, because they speak volumes to us, each one of them, don't they? And what I'll say is that this is a deck that you probably haven't seen around, or haven't seen it much. There's the King of Wands. I got this years ago, and it's always been unfailingly accurate, I think. There's the Hierophant. The artwork on it is very, very alluring, I think. There's Justice, quite like the Aquarian woman herself. Speaking of Aquarius, there's Justice. There's a great degree of it's just got a good mood to it, I think, and I think that you'll appreciate it as an intelligent viewer. Let's have a look here. There's the Two of Pentacles. Now we'll see finally what there is and see what there is here, and it is the Knight of Pentacles. Well, it's all happening for you, as always. What a great year it's been, and I think that next year is going to be even better. Look out for the yearly reading, which I'll do. It'll probably take about 15 or 20 minutes, I think. I won't go into as much depth as I do for the monthly readings, because the monthly readings obviously deal with things that are to hand now. But the yearly reading, I think, will come out sometime before Thanksgiving of this year. But come and sit down next to me now and have a good close look at these cards together while I do the reading for you. There now, I think you can see this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's have a look at this King of Wands first up. See what he has to you. I think this wants to have a conversation with you, this spread this month. Here he is, the King of Wands. Well, when at last he rested, he knew the action had been justified. Now, this King of Wands for me suggests, I think, that there is a lot of Sagittarius around you at the moment. I call him, by the way, the Lord of Flames and Lightning. Now, in addition to Sagittarius, I think Scorpio is also going to be interesting for you during the period. And a lot of that Sagittarius energy is going to be with you, I think, as well during this period. There'll be a great degree of swiftness in the way you think about things and in the actions that you take. You might find that you are hard to pin down. There could be some travel associated with you during the period, and certainly you'll have a lot of philosophical leanings, I think, during the time. There is, now, as the king, he is esoterically fire, and he's in fire, so he's the fiery aspect of fire. A lot of dynamic forward motion here, increasing insight, and there are changes coming along. I think you'll be energetic and ambitious. There'll be a degree of adventurousness with you during this period. You'll be determined, but very charming and magnetic, and I think that people are going to find you very hard to resist, and you can take that how you may. I also get the feeling of a sort of budding entrepreneurship around here. You'll be thinking of ideas, I think, about how things could make money. Now, as a general rule, I think for you, coming up here, activity is what I see here. Maybe even a degree of impetuousness during the period. Now, I'm pleased to say that you will be very generous during the period, and you might be quite proud. Swift is what I see here. I'm really getting that idea of things happening fast, and you may even be involved in what is sort of, at least in the eyes of other people, unpredictable actions and a degree of fierceness going on. Now, what's also the case is that there may around you in your living conditions or your work environment be something of a sort of a startling, unusual, or revolutionary quality contained in the events around you. But you should be cool, collected, resolute, and energetic, and be careful of the actions you take. Nothing that hasn't been well thought out, but go forward with an alert confidence in your ability here. The energy created by increased perception is set free, and now it manifests in you. It is unstoppable. Even difficult situations will move in a very constructive direction. I think it's also the case that this is a time when you will be finding your vitality again. Trust your gut instincts during this period. Maybe even think of letting your hair down and giving yourself a pep talk and believe that you can do it, because you can. I will say this, though, about him, and it's something to be aware of. He really has one bullet in the gun, and when that has been fired, he has no other backup plan. So make sure with activities that you take that you do have a backup plan. But be awake, ready for people or situations which could produce dynamic changes in your consciousness. Be grateful for this gift from existence, receive it, and don't cling to it. Now, does your present situation allow your energies to develop and unfold fully? And if not, what must be removed or changed? Seek out situations and opportunities that challenge you and engage them with all of your energy, because this is a period when you should be saying, "Every challenge which arises helps me grow. Every storm strengthens my roots." Well, let's have a look to see what else is calling. Well, I think actually the card that is calling is this one, and it is the Hierophant. Well, Hierophant, what do you have to say to my friend? What is it that you have got to tell my beloved here? Now, when I look at the Hierophant here, I really get the feeling that there is surely a piece of divinity in us, something that was before the elements and owes no homage unto the sun. Now, seeking the release of the spiritual entity within, the Hierophant is forever shackled by the traditions and rituals of the past. He knows his beliefs to be true, and he will share with you the teachings of divinity, though often he speaks in parables or stories. The truth of his words is unshakable if you have faith. Those unwilling or unable to see the Hierophant's truth may sometimes be caught up in the trappings of his faith. They do not see these trappings as just tools of the divine, but as its very existence, that is, the divinity itself. This is a mistake, and it has led to painful inquisitions in the past, hasn't it? Now, this is Venus in Taurus with the moon exalted. Now, Taurus is Earth, and this emphasizes the importance of applying your spiritual realizations in the day-to-day world, as the Hierophant really links the two, the divine and the material world, the divine and the created cosmos. I think you could find that during this period here, that you are seen as a counselor to people, or people come to you for advice. You could well be a teacher, teaching people, showing people how to do something, whether directly or as a consultant. I call him the Magus of the eternal gods. It indicates the needs, I think, look, just for the moment, I think, of you to follow the rules and regulations and traditions in your life. This is a period of quite intense learning. Now you may say to yourself, well look, I'm not involved in any particular formal course of study, but I think that you'll spend time on the internet, things that are going to pick up and look up and say, I want to find out about this, I want to find out more. And this is something that you will be doing. I do get the feeling of marriage around here as well, I have to say, so you may hear of somebody getting married. And this is particularly good energy for those people who are in large organizations, such as the school systems, hospitals, large corporations, where there is an established order of some sort. Those in the public service in particular. Public servants, people working for the government. This is a really good time for it. Now, I think that there is also here the feeling of group identity is what I'm getting for some reason. I don't know why it is the case, but I am getting that. This hierophant has united the elements of the world in himself and has brought them to full expression. He is the awakened one, the fulfilled, the enlightened. He is a true master who acts as the intermediary between the human and the divine. He is the spirit made flesh, or the final stage of human development in which the human is united with the godly. You'll be extremely gifted at imparting information and inspiring other people throughout this period. And I think you'll be very attracted to music, to sounds. Good at listening, I think you'll be. Also good at speaking. And you'll want to make your ideas tangible, usable. That is, you're going to have the ideas that come to you from this card, and you're going to say, but how can I actually put them into place? Now, this doesn't mean to say, how do you change the world? This could be something as I want to try something new in the way of cooking, or I want new fashion, or I want new hair, or I want to change things around my physical environment, or things like this. It can also mean putting together new projects in the workplace. There is a deep desire for you to be challenged by new experience at this time. Do you know, it's also, I think, the case that the search for the self, that is your search for the self, which you'll have in quieter moments, will lead you into spiritual realms. And I think this card can sometimes, in the position that it's in, point to a meeting with a spiritual teacher or master, so be open to anything which comes along that way. Involve yourself with the teachings of spiritual masters. Read, check out videos on YouTube to expand your view of what might be the divine. There's a very good series called Closer to Truth, which is on YouTube, which has a number of people on both sides of the equation involved in saying that there is a God or there is not a God. Involve yourself in groups, perhaps, for personal growth, and be honest, open, and receptive in these groups. But say this to yourself: I honor the sacred within me. I am inspired by learning and teaching. I am creative and productive in my family and work life. There is only one voice worth listening to, the voice of my own heart. Now let me see, I saw this woman down here before. I want to see what she has to say. What is she? The Two of Pentacles. Well, that doesn't surprise me, looking at these other cards in your spread. Now, let's have a look and see what it is that she has to say. Well, I call her the Lady of Harmonious Change. This is Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn, 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. This is a time of kind of going with the flow. Now, where do we see the hierophant was also talking about going with the flow and sticking to rules and regulations just for the moment. It's not to say that you have to do it, but this is obviously in your interest, it seems, for this month. Now, Jupiter in Capricorn. Now, although that's potentially inharmonious, as you'll probably have thought, because Jupiter is all about expansion and Capricorn is all about conservatism and practicality. But I'm not concerned about that because we're very high up on the suit with the number 2, so I don't think that there's going to be a difficulty there. This is, however, talking about change and transformation. Now, this is both within yourself, and it could also be relating to the events that are around you. This King of Wands was talking about events perhaps being startling or revolutionary around you as well, wasn't he? Yeah. Change is always necessary when the old falls out of equilibrium. Change shakes you up and wakes you up. Now, what we see here is that there is the period here, I think, where there is going to be there's a change trying to bring you back into balance, and your well-being as a result is going to be much better. There's movement, flux, having some ups and downs, but growth through change, expanding yourself internally. Now, I think you'll be quite busy during this period, multitasking, and you may find that you have quite a heavy workload, but you'll be enjoying that work. And this is also referring to, I think, a welcome change that moves you into a better place. Actually, I think you have to learn to go with the flow in your life and trust in the process of change at the moment so that you might find harmony and balance. Now, it is true that constant changes in fortune can make things difficult to get off the ground, but they will do. Those practical things that you put into place are going to stick. Now, there's nothing financially or materially set in stone at the moment. This is also, funnily enough, I think, a reminder for you to make sure that your day-to-day affairs are in order. There's a card of good management of your practical affairs and finances. Now, I know it might sound like a drag, but getting on top of bills and chores is really just as important as pursuing more enjoyable activities, really. Your life is subject to a constant change which allows you to grow, extending and expanding you, and ultimately enriching you. Give yourself up to the transformation with trust. What internal or external changes are going on in your life? Where are you still clinging? Say this to yourself. I trust in the harmony of my life and in the flow of my life. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Now, I saw another woman around here that I wanted to talk about. Here she is. This is Justice. Let's have a look at her, shall we? Hello, Justice. Well, it's true, isn't it, that the sword of justice has no scabbard. That is, it is always unsheathed and wielding ready to strike. Now, though there may be times when the night seems never ending, we know that justice will always bring about the dawn. She tends the scales which balance the universe. Her sword stands ever at the ready to slash away that which causes disruption in equilibrium. In this task, she is impartial, swift and unyielding. Now, Justice knows that there can be no good without the bad. In balancing the scales, she is likely to temper both success and failure. It would be wise, therefore, to remember this when you find yourself the possessor of too much of a good thing. Now, her astrology in that central position there is that of Venus ruling Libra with Saturn exalted. Now, Libra emphasizes that the energy of this card is all about balance and equilibrium, karmic cause and effect, and bringing a situation into balance. Now, this is Justice, but I call her the daughter of the Lords of Truth, the ruler of balance. Now there's justice coming into your life, balance, adjustment. You'll be doing some adjusting. This is some of these changes, I think, that were being spoken of there. There may well be a period here too where you actually suspend action pending a decision. Now, although this king was talking about you sometimes being impetuous, remember that is, I think, as I recall, something that other people may have seen you as being taking an unpredictable course of action. But you, however, having been forearmed and forewarned, will in fact suspend taking action until you have objectively stood back and determined what is the right course of action. There's the balancing of opposites going on here. It's a fascinating picture of balance here, I think. The predominant color is blue. Blue is the color of spiritual and intellectual power, such as thinking, ideas, wisdom, and the downward pointing sword. Well, that lends a similar meaning, I think. The powers of your thought are directed toward and put in contact with the earth, with reality, and that will serve you during this period. It's also the case, I think, that you may be taking stock of your life. Well, this hierophant was saying that there may be some moments when you do quietly retire and look at things to consider who you are. And you, of course, are not who you think you are. You are not the layer of experiences. You are not your personality. You are not your name. You are not what you look like. You are not your body. Your body is inside you. You are not inside your body, remember. I think you'll be clearly thinking about your life ahead, and you'll be aware that all actions have consequences. You'll have a clear vision of possibilities and choices ahead of you, and you'll apply the insights that you've gained so far throughout your life to have a balanced life. I think you'll be discovering and then following your true path and what gives it the most meanings. It's extraordinary how these cards all come together like this. So pay attention to what situations in your daily life tend to throw you off balance. Discover the conditions under which you will find harmony again. Carry this quality with you more and more as you move through your daily activities. What helps you to reach your meditative center and to stay there? And what happens to you when you lose your center? Say this to yourself and have it in mind and let it bury into your subconscious during the period. And it is that I am balanced and centered. I honor my word. I value being truthful in difficult situations. The abundance and beauty of nature is a reflection of my own nature. I am at rest in my own center. Well, now, I think that finally takes us, does it not, to this card here. Yep. This is, if I'm not mistaken, I better just check. Yeah, the Knight of Wands. Okay, Knight of Wands, what have you got to say to my friend? Well, he's really going quite beautifully with the theme that all the other cards have coalesced upon. Now his family, I think, has always served the monarch. He is the knight of the chariot of earth. Now, Taurus is going to be important to you during the period, as is Aries. This could be in their rising signs. This is saying that, now as a knight, incidentally, he's esoterically air, and he's in earth. Now, air and earth are enemies, and they weaken each other. You can imagine this being the case if you can imagine a tornado, the effect that the air of the tornado has upon the earth, or of a hurricane, or of a cyclone, a typhoon, or the winds that get whipped up in a monsoon period. You see how they can tend to counteract each other. But you will be, during this period, a master or a mistress of structure, design, architecture. Now, when I say that, it's not to do with the buildings, or with building bridges or houses or anything like that, but you'll have a great ability in things which are beautiful, however those things might, beautifying yourself, your surroundings, looking at things that are going on in your life. This is a guy who has great energy in dealing with the material side of life. He's unshakable, he's prudent, and has a lot of physical activity here. Very energetic, a capable manager. This is something which you'll be here. You'll be able to organize a few things. Somebody else in this spread here was talking about you multitasking. And so you'll be able to be a capable manager and quite a steadfast worker. You'll be slow to anger, I think, but goodness me, look out if someone has really pushed your buttons. You'll have great energy to bring to bear on the most solid of practical matters. You'll be very practical during this period. You'll be competent, ingenious, thoughtful, quite cautious, I think. Isn't that interesting? Because this was talking about action, maybe being seen by others as being unpredictable, and yet these other cards here have spoken about you standing back before you take that course of action, which is what you will do. So don't worry about what other people think. The most important thing is that what do you think and what are you going to do? You'll be ingenious, trustworthy, and you'll seek new uses for common things. You'll be able to adapt to circumstances and turn them to your advantage with a slow, steady, well-thought-out plan. Nothing is going to stop you. Nothing will break your determination to reach your goal. It is particularly in the most important and serious situations that you will prove again and again that you are unshakable and possess prudence and perseverance. He is, I think, very open, and combined with the qualities of that Taurus aspect that I see, he's going to make you very trustworthy in dealings with others. This is a time to take action. If you do, important experiences will result. What activities do you enjoy? What activities would help you towards self-realization? Find a physical, creative activity in which you find joy and fulfillment, and say to yourself, I am finding the work that fulfills and satisfies me. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, there you go, the month of October. Wasn't that fascinating? I thought it was fascinating anyway. I think it's going to be a great month for you. Things happening, things moving forward, things cleaning out inside, making you bigger, stronger, faster, and ready to take on the world, leading up into this season come. Now, until then, though, and until next month's reading, there's one thing that I want you to remember, and remember this always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.